Rev up your engines! Now today we got a 2017 Camry. Guy uses it for Uber. He bought it used, and in 3 years he's put over 100,000 miles on it. And he did have bad luck because he did have to replace the alternator. He did it himself. But that's it. He did that when it had 120,000 miles on it. Now he's using it as Uber. So this car's actually making him money. If you want to make money, get yourself a Toyota when you're doing that, because you're not going to spend money on breakdown, right? They could just go basically forever if you take care of them. He bought it when it was 3 years old for 18 grand, put over 100,000 miles on it, and an alternator. That's it. You know, changed the oil and filter, of course. And he says I've saved him a fortune because he watches all my videos. Guys try to sell him stuff he didn't need. He didn't buy it. He learned how to change the alternator himself. There's a lot of stuff you can do yourself. And if you're looking for a reliable car, well, you can't beat a 4-cylinder Camry unless you're talking 2007 or so when they made all those engines that burn oil. This is a completely different engine. You can see aside from the alternator, everything else is stock. Mass airflow sensor, brake master cylinder, computer. Everything's pretty much the way it came out of the factory. And it was made in Kentucky. They do a good job putting them together in Kentucky. Now, this is a lower end one, so you can see that's plastic. It's got steel rims. Now, there's nothing wrong with steel rims. If you hit a curb or something, you can bend it. You can hit them back with a sledgehammer. Do that with aluminum, you got to buy new rims. And hubcaps are cheap. Hey, there's nothing wrong with them. And from far away, you really can't tell the difference. They look the same as alloy wheels. The cloth seats got little stains in them. He can clean them if he wants, but they're not ripped. They last a long time. But it's held up. You know, I'd clean it up myself. But it's a nice setup. Nice steering wheel. You can turn the traction control off if you want. And this is an actual automatic transmission. It's not a CVT. Realize today you can still get a Toyota Camry with an actual automatic transmission. You don't have to get one of those crappy CVT transmissions. Now, if you're getting a Camry that's a hybrid, they only come with the electric CVT transmissions, so you don't have any choice. But if you get a regular Camry, you can get it with an actual automatic transmission and gears, which run forever. Better acceleration. You feel a little bit more in control than those kind of motorboat CVTs that just kind of and move themselves down the road. A lot of people still like automatic transmissions, and Toyota's smart that they've been making with regular automatics for a long time. I do believe that next year they're only going to be making hybrid 4-cylinder Camrys, in which case they ditch the automatic transmission. So let's say you wanted a Camry. Get one that still has an automatic transmission used then, because they can last such a long time and you can save so much money buying them used, realizing they're still going to go down the road. And this is a logical vehicle because it's front-wheel drive. Most people really do not need all-wheel drive. You got to buy all 4 tires if one goes bad if you have an all-wheel drive system. This is a simple front-wheel drive. They've been making these Camrys forever. They've sold scores of millions of them because they're dependable cars, and there's still a lot of people like this guy who want a sedan. They don't need an SUV. He doesn't have a million kids to take around to soccer matches and stuff. A lot of people still like sedans, and Toyota is still leading the way with the Camry sedan because they've got a reasonable amount of room in the back seat, got a decent trunk, and they're just so dependable. But let's hope this one doesn't make me eat my words, so we'll hook up my fancy computer. But before we do, the car that he had before this was a Kia Optima, which he said was the biggest pile of crap he ever had. At 60,000 miles, the transmission went out. And sadly enough, he said they told him it was out of warranty, even though it had 60,000 miles. So, they said they put a remanufactured transmission at the Kia dealer. Guess what? It didn't work. So then, they said, well, we won't charge you anymore. And they said they put a brand new transmission in it. Who knows what they did, but I mean, that just tells you take your car to the dealer because the transmission's bad with only 60K, and then they say, oh, well, it's not under warranty. Then he pays to have it rebuilt, and it doesn't even work. Then they claim they put a new one in. Who knows? So much for Kia's vaunted 100 100,000 mile power warranty. They told him it wasn't in warranty with only 60,000 miles on the thing. Then they didn't even fix the ride, and then finally they did saying they put a new one in. I'm sure they probably just took the other one apart and then tried to fix it. Plug the computer in, turn this baby on. Toyota Camry, standalone diagnosis. Here we go. Notice it's a Camry North America 2017 2ERFE without smart key. I like that it has a regular key. Forget the smart keys. You do a topology scan. It's a good scanner, this Autel. It's going really fast. You can see how fast it's going through. Everything's in decent shape. He needs to clean it. It's dirty, but that's not the car's fault. And it's economy. It doesn't have a sunroof, which I can't stand those things anyways. Okay, it's got 9 trouble codes. You might think, oh my God, what's wrong? Well, we're going to find a lot of this is probably total nonsense. We'll start with the tire pressure monitor system. Probably got a bad sensor. Look at the AC. There's a code for that. Probably another baloney code. And the trouble code for that is lost communication with the computer. Hey, it's working. Who cares? We'll erase that. The brake system. ABS, some squirrely thing with that, I suppose. High or low power supply voltage. Well, the battery's been changed, so that's probably why we're getting a bunch of codes. And no one ever erased it after they replaced the battery. I see that all the time. We'll go to the ECM, the engine, electronic transmission. See what that code is. Startability fault. I see that all the time. Sometimes the key doesn't work right, and when the battery's low, it'll do that, and the battery's unreplaced. So yet another one will erase, and I guarantee you probably none of them will come back. Then we'll go over here. The GPS system. Who cares? The GPS systems on these things are old-fashioned. Everyone's got a phone, but we'll see what it is. Communication. Again, it could have been the bad battery. We'll erase that. The batteries have already been replaced, but nobody's reset it. Main body is probably another stupid communication code. Lost communication, so we'll erase those too. All this could have been just because the battery was weak and has been replaced. They're not hard codes because they all went green. And there's one more. Passenger door motor. Let's see what that trouble code is. Window switch fault. Yeah, sometimes you pull on them, you get a fault because you pull on them too hard, but they all work, so we'll erase that too. So there's no serious codes at all. So now we're starter up. Typical Toyota starts right up, and we will look at main live data. Black is good, red is bad. Mass airflow is perfect. 2.5 liter engine, 2.52, that's pretty much perfect. Everything's black, which is good. And look at this. The long-term fuel trim is 0. That's perfect. Even though the car's got 132,252 miles, the fuel trim is 0, meaning it's not adding or subtracting fuel and that it's running perfect. So I'll whip through some more of the data. It's all black. All the figures so far are almost perfect. Variable valve timing's all working fine. Engine speed's exactly the same for all of them, which it should be. Engine speed fluctuation's 0. Which is what you want, no fluctuation whatsoever. Transmission, 6-speed electronically controlled automatic transmission, it's fine. Little bitty backup camera, you can see my wife, haha, magically you get to see my wife. There she goes. Now I might have 132,000 miles, but in drive, it idles like a dream. You gotta clean that dust off though. And they're not super high cars, so we'll just go at a normal speed over this crazy water speed bump here that keeps the water away. And here we go on the Rhode Island bumpy roads. It has a lot of miles. It still has the original struts on it, and it rides fine. I can hear a little clunkiness. The struts, of course, are worn. It has 132,000 miles on it, but it doesn't particularly handle bad or shake at highway speed, so you can live with that. If you want a smoother ride, you could put 4 KYBs on it if you wanted to, or you could just drive it like he has and deliver people food, not caring if it bounces a little bit. Clear to the right, here we go. All right, nice acceleration. Smooth shifting, you can barely feel it shift. Still got most of the horsepower it was made with. Nice smooth ride. You need to pass somebody, hey, you step on the gas, up it goes and it'll pass people. Corner's fine. He bought it cheap. He's put over 100,000 miles on it in 3 years. Still runs fine. And the only thing he had to buy was an alternator that he put on himself. Realize when you have a 2.5 liter inline Toyota engine, you do not need a turbocharger. It will last longer. It won't have any problems. You start getting into the smaller displacement engines and turbos, they're going to wear out faster. Yeah, they get power, but only at higher RPMs. And they wear out faster, the turbo and the engine. This thing doesn't burn oil, still runs just like it did off the factory floor in Kentucky when it was built. in 2017. And this 6-speed automatic transmission still shifts like a dream. Doesn't have problems downshifting, upshifting, smooth transition, plenty of power. And gas mileage? Took him 4 hours to get here and it only used up half a tank of gas. Granted, he admitted it uses up a lot more gas when he's doing DoorDash and stuff, but anything's gonna do that unless you buy a hybrid, and you're gonna pay a whole bunch of more money for a hybrid. And buying a used hybrid, it's a lot chancier than buying a used normal gasoline engine by any stretch of imagination. So there you have it, electronic 6-speed tranny in this thing, 4-cylinder engine, runs like a clock. And yeah, it's got fake hubcaps. They're not real alloys, but hey, they're gonna last longer. Steel rims don't break that easy. Aluminum ones do. There you have it, a 2017 Camry, made in Kentucky. Mind you, the engine, everything comes from Japan. They just put them together there. And he certainly got his money worth, 100-something thousand miles in 3 years, and it's still going like a clock. So, if you're thinking about doing something like DoorDash or Uber, definitely think of something like this, because you're not going to put any of your hard-earned money back into the car. All you got to do is change the oil. And yeah, he had to change the alternator, but it had 120,000 miles on it then, and he did it himself. No big deal. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.